Hi from the
English sisters.
Welcome to Get Real with the
English sisters.
Hello everyone.
Hello.
Today we're going to be talking about the sayings we say to ourselves.
That we hear in our heads and that can really affect us.
Things like, I think they're called idioms or proverbs too.
Yeah, I think
those like famous quotes as well.
I think the proverbs are like the ones that we can actually go to when we kind of like the one about the cloud and the silver lining, Those ones are like helpful, aren't they?
Well, there's always a cloud without, no, there's
always
a
a
silver
silver
lining within a cloud. We always get them wrong.
We get them wrong, but they're kind of stuck in your head.
Always.
Do you know what I mean? There's a silver lining, you might think, when there's something that you don't want to do or something that you think is bad that's happened to you, but then you think about the silver lining.
So that would be like a helpful proverb.
That's it, yeah.
That's a helpful saying.
That's definitely helpful, and I think we probably we didn't hear that growing up because our mum was Spanish. But I think a lot of English-speaking people have probably heard that phrase.
Well, that's a nice one to hear.
That's really sweet, yeah. We used to hear more things like the one she would say about the war.
Oh, that was always good.
Yeah, that's been really helpful.
That has been helpful.
She would always say, "Más se perdió en la guerra." So there was a lot more loss in war. So that's a literal translation, but I think what she, the actual meaning means is that...
Well, whatever bad happens, it was always worse in the war.
It was worse. So, but she would always use it when we would like lose something, because the actual phrase has a word. There was so much lost in war, so that... Do you remember, like, I remember when I was little, if I lost my pencil case or something, Mama, I've lost my pencil case, she would always say, oh, well, más se perdió en la guerra, and then everything would be fine. And
what about when we would, like, if it was an exam or something, you didn't do well, would you say it then?
No.
But I say it now.
You say it to yourself now, don't you?
I've what's it
adopted
called? Evolved the saying, so I just use it for anything that's gone bad, anything that's gone wrong.
Really?
In my mind, I'll use it. And I use it with my children as well, my husband, so anything really.
Yeah.
So if you
I do use it as
anything, or you do anything, I always say more was lost in más se perdió en la guerra.
More was lost in the war.
It's no big deal kind of thing.
Yeah, so don't worry about it. It's okay. But
it'll be okay.
Yeah, but there it is, isn't it? The simple proverb, idiom that it's been stuck in our heads.
Well, it's like hypnosis, isn't it?
Over years and years, more than any other words. There were so many other words, but these kind of idioms and proverbs really do stick with you. If you think about it in your life, there are probably many that can come to mind now as we're talking about this, and if you just have a wonder about them and think, yeah.
Well, there's that famous one, when life gives you lemons, make lemonade.
Yeah, that's constructive.
That's a constructive answer when things are not going your way or you're getting bad.
Yeah.
Use it to make something more positive for yourself.
Absolutely. That's a really good one, actually, because if anything happens that, you think, oh, well, I've got lemon... What is it? I've got the lemons now, so the bitter has come into my life. I'm going to change the bitter into something sweet. I'm going to make lemonade, and you can add the sugar and everything, which is delicious, yeah. So that's actually really good. If you think about it, that's a really good one.
Well, it's very constructive.
That's
very helpful.
That's a helpful one to have in your mind. Because it's surprising how much these things are in your mind, whether you realise it or not, and how they can actually affect you, how they can help you overcome, or how they can keep you back.
How they can hinder your progress.
They can hinder as well.
They can get you really down, can't they? If you've got something like really negative, a negative saying.
Well, or words, that you've heard growing up, for example, like the phrase, "You're just like your mother," or "You're just like your father." Now, that could be really positive, but most of the time that's said in
when it's said, it's usually said in a negative way.
It's usually, "Oh my God, you're just like your
in
father."
an accusatory way.
Yes.
It's said. It's not said, "Oh, you're so wonderful like your mother."
No. When it's
You're
you are
so
just
amazing like your mother.
No, you are just like it. It's always, not so good.
And I think it also comes with all the background of the person that's already saying it, all their baggage of their feelings about their mother.
Absolutely.
About the person's mother.
I'm just thinking of when, back to our own childhood again, because these are referrals we have to go back to personally to fully understand them also as therapists. And I remember when Mum used to say, whenever, she would hardly ever say it, but once she said to me that I was like her sister. And I know that she viewed her younger sister as being reckless
and
rebellious because she had a baby in sin, out of wedlock. And so she said that to me once, and I thought, my God, that I don't think that was something good, and I know she was angry when she said it, but this was just once, but it had quite a big effect on me.
Remember it.
I still remember it now, so I can imagine that if you hear these words all the time, constantly, whether you realize it or not now in your adult life, as you go about your day, these words and these phrases will pop up in the most unexpected ways, even when you're not aware of it. So I think...
Do you remember we had that hypnotherapy client who said that her mum was always telling her that she was really anxious and nervous and useless?
Yes, I remember that.
And
the young person.
She said that she would, even though she knew she was really competent and everything now as an adult, but she felt that she carried that with her.
What were the words her mum would say to her?
I can't remember them now because it was a while ago. But she would say things like, "You're not capable," and she said her dad was always the one that was very supportive and encouraging. And her dad had recently passed away, and she had the words of her mother always in her mind.
I can't actually remember that session, but vaguely, I think, I do.
We've had so many, but this one she was a doctor.
Oh yes, now I've remembered it. Yeah, okay, right.
She said that with her children, she always felt inadequate because she always had her mum judging her.
Oh my gosh, that was massive deal when she realised it. Yeah. So this is what we're saying to you. Sometimes you're just not aware of it. You just don't realise that the phrases that you've heard repeatedly over many years have actually hypnotised you, but not in a good way.
Yeah.
It's actual hypnosis that's not come out for your own good.
Not positive.
No. Whereas,
you have triggers and you get triggered by these sayings, and then it has an effect on you which makes you feel bad, it makes you feel insecure, it makes you feel like... Gosh. A lot of the times it can make you feel really useless as well.
But, we're talking about an adult here who, for example, in this case, she was fully accomplished. Yes. She had, she was a doctor, for goodness sake. But yet so utterly insecure about anything to do with her personal life. So she might have felt secure at work, because I can't remember that being an issue, was it?
No.
It was
just with her personal life, because her mum was always really judging of her. She was always really judging all the time.
Yeah.
You're not good enough.
Goodness me, yeah.
But I remember we said, but maybe that's how she grew up, and she said it was true that her parents had been really harsh on her.
So these idioms and
they're carried through generations, so really you have to recognise them to break the pattern.
Gosh, you've just said something that really is spot on.
Well,
they are carried through generations. They're a culture thing as well, because it depends on what culture you grew up in, but they're also carried through generations. So these are words that are heavily imprinted
Heavily loaded.
Heavily loaded, and you might say them to people you love too without even realizing you're saying them. So
Well, I've just thought
it
of
might
the one
come
that
up.
comes that life is hard.
Yeah.
Life is hard. People think that life is hard all the time. People are afraid when something good happens to them or things are going well that, they're going to get the bad news. Something bad is going to happen.
Something bad.
So they never allow themselves to feel the joy and the happiness and the well-being.
Yeah.
And yet the Dalai Lama said our whole reason for being is to be happy.
Is to be happy. I mean, that puts a lot of pressure on us as well, doesn't it? But it kind of relieves us of other kind of pressures. So, is that what the meaning of life is for me on this planet, is to be happy? La la. There I am, I'm happy, And that's kind of it.
That's it. There's not much else to it.
Yeah, you're just happy. Like when you're born.
The meaning of life is to be happy.
And that's it. Imagine if growing up you heard those words 1,000 times. Imagine if your caretakers, your parents, your grandparents, everybody around you was always saying, oh, well, darling, the meaning of life is to be happy. And that was constantly repeated. I mean, how would that make you feel now as an adult? How would that affect your life?
Well, I think you try and be happy throughout your day. You'd be looking for
I don't know if you try and be happy or you would already be happy, because I think it was so imprinted in you.
Do you remember that story you wrote about happy?
No, I can't. Oh, yes, I can. Yeah.
That he was named Happy, the baby.
Because he was born happy. He was always laughing. Yeah.
Can you remember how it went? You wrote that when you were hypnotized. We haven't gone back to it for ages.
No,
I think we sat in Entrancing Tales with Change or in Stress Free in 3 minutes.
it was many years ago. Yeah. He was born happy and he was given that name. Yeah. Gosh, now I'm actually the author and I can't remember it. You're putting me on a spot here. No, I know it was something I did write when it was in the evening. I remember taking my laptop outside, like literally under a tree, under the stars. I remember everything about where I was when I wrote it.
You have complete amnesia.
I have amnesia over it.
Because something happened in the village. He was called Happy and he grew up happy and everyone would say happy, hello, happy, and they would all get happy when they said happy.
Everyone was happy around him. Yeah. I can't remember. I think in the end he had some kind of a seed. He was given a seed and he planted it. And he decided to call it the happy tree so that other people could
eat the fruit.
Well, yeah, not only eat the fruit, but just metaphorically sit under the tree and
the happy tree.
And feel. It was something along those lines. Yeah, I mean, this is a bit like what I was saying before. Imagine if. How would that actually affect your life? Instead of hearing life is tough, life, all these negative things, saying, what was it you just said? The thing about life is
happiness. The meaning of life is to be happy. The Dalai Lama.
Yeah. If you heard that all the time.
I mean, growing up, you would be hypnotized into thinking that the meaning of life was to be happy. So I think you would look for happiness and purpose in happiness.
So when you were unhappy.
When you were unhappy, you would acknowledge it, I suppose, but it wouldn't be that much of a big deal.
No.
Yeah, I suppose you wouldn't always be chasing other maybe material things or, goals and things.
Yeah, these proverbs and these sayings can really affect us.
The thing is that most people, they're always chasing. And then in the end, they never get what they want, because once they've achieved it, then they're still unhappy. And they
because then it's the next step,
the happiness has to be like within you. It has to be in you, innate.
Because it is already within you.
But is it?
Is it? Yeah, it is. It gets covered up. it gets clouded over. It's like the cloud with the silver. I do believe that it is there at first.
Because children play, don't they?
Children play unless they're abused and traumatized, poor little things. But yes, ideally we are born as little mammals that generally, if we're fed and taken care of, we will be happy little beings. We will want to explore and be curious and be generally happy. But then society takes over. Sayings come. The pressures, the elders, the caretakers.
Of achievements.
Exactly. And that can make
us
lose
our... And the pressures of always looking for maybe to fit into society as well, always looking to see what other people are doing and trying to keep up with them as well. A lot of the times there's social pressures around us, peer pressure from what other people are doing in our circles. We have to be like them. We have to do what they're doing. We have to be at the same stage in our lives.
Like the grass is always greener on the other side, sort of thing. But actually, instead of using that in a positive context and thinking, yes, am I thinking the grass is always greener on the other side? Maybe my grass is already really green here. You're thinking... the grass, you're literally living, the grass is always greener on the other side, so you're always trying to get over to that other side. What other side is it? A better job, better relationship, more money, usual things, aren't they? You know, things you're striving for. Are you actually caught in the trying to get to the other side?
Trying to get to the grass is greener.
The grass is greener, bit of the proverb. Yeah. I think whenever I've heard that, I've always thought it was, oh yeah, you know, slow down. That is so true. The grass is greener on the other side. So I've taken it and used it to my advantage and realised that the grass is green enough here.
If you water it.
Yes, if you look after it and nourish it. I hadn't actually thought of that yet. You do need to water it.
So maybe we need to water our own lives every day and feed our own lives every day and nourish ourselves with positive words and positive sayings.
Definitely.
Maybe that's what we need to do.
Maybe we need to create, culture our own little idioms that are really helpful to us. And when we hear phrases and words of our past that come up,
catch ourselves.
We can catch and we can think, is that me, or is this something I've heard from somebody else?
And do I really want to pass it on to the next generation?
Yeah, to the next group of people I'm going to love, my family, my friends. Is this something that's worth sharing? Because
is it worth sharing?
Yeah, or is it just best to just cut it off and loosen those ties with it and just let it float away? Just let it compost. Yeah, let it go. And let something better be born from this. And it really is just all about being aware of these words and phrases and proverbs that are going through your head, through your mind. Absolutely.
Well, if you find this podcast helpful, please follow us on social media, Instagram, Facebook, everywhere. And please follow us on our podcast too, on Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast.
Wherever you listen.
And please do share this podcast with your friends and family to help us all grow and develop into something
better human beings, I think.
Happier,
more fulfilled. Just become our true
selves, maybe, without all the...
I know there's a lot of talk about this true self. What is this true self for me?
I think that's for another podcast. We're going to sign off. Oh, and by the way, it's also available on our YouTube channel where you can actually see the video.
And you can watch us.
Too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Lots of love from the
English Sisters.
Bye, everyone.